Welcome to Chasing Impact, Not Sales, where heart meets hustle, strategy meets service, and selling feels good again. I'm your host, Mandy Minatello. Let's go. Hey, welcome to Chasing Impact, Not Sales. I'm your host, Mandy Minatello, and it feels like it's been a minute. I've been taking some time working really in depth with some amazing sales professionals lately, really delving into some new and exciting things. And so it's been a minute since I've had the opportunity to sit down and record. And, you know, when I'm thinking about what to share and I start thinking about, like, I want to bring the most relevant stuff and I want to talk about the most up to date things. And I truly want what I always say to be true, which is that this podcast is a gift to the industry so that we all can see that there is a collective, that there is a group that just wants each other to win. And so in thinking about what am I going to share today, I really want to go back to what I've been training new sales professionals over the last couple of months and bringing people who are hungry and excited into this industry. And something that I just want to reiterate over and over and over again with them, and what I keep hearing from them is thank you, thank you, thank you, is that I want you to think about something that seems counter when you're in training. The truth is, sales culture glorifies persuasion, but human nature fights persuasion. And so it feels like this conflict all the time. We're taught in sales culture to push through objections. We're taught to handle everything. We're taught ABC, always be closing, close at all costs. And that's what we hear in the industry. But I'm here to tell you that strong sales leaders, the strongest, the most professional, and I'll argue the most successful sales leaders know something different. What we know is that we should not be glorifying persuasion. There is a moment in every single conversation, no matter how it ends, right? No matter if it's a close, a win, or if it's a lost sale, there is a moment in every conversation where the most powerful thing you can do is stop selling. And in that moment, in your head, make a shift and start disqualifying. And here's another reframe. Disqualification is not automatic rejection. Disqualification is not a lost sale. Disqualification is protection. And protection, unlike persuasion, protection feels good. Protection makes our soul feel covered. Protection feels like this conversation complements. Protection protects the buyer from making a poor decision, and it protects your team, including your service fulfillment, from difficult delivery. And it protects your brand, whether it be your business brand, your company brand, or even your personal brand, from misaligned expectations. Disqualification protects on all sides, and that's what the human soul is looking for. Not every opportunity is meant to close, and that's a good thing. Disqualification matters as much as anything else because when the wrong client says yes, that's just the beginning. That's the first domino. Because when the wrong client says yes, everything from then on gets harder. Delivery becomes strained. Expectations drift. Your team, from that first salesperson, their first experience, all the way through onboarding, all the way through fulfillment, feels that friction. And guess what happens? Over time, your reputation is what takes the hit. Most sales problems that arise, that come to surface down the road, do not start in fulfillment. They do not start with customer expectations not being met. They start in qualification not being aligned. They start when someone isn't protected. Healthy sales systems don't define just who we let in. Okay. If you have a healthy sales system, if you have a healthy pipeline, a pipeline does not mean you turn on the faucet and every single person comes in. A healthy system has a system for disqualification as much as they have a system for qualification. Healthy sales systems don't define who we let in solely. They also define who to keep out. We want to repel people who are not ideal for us. Clear disqualification criteria creates clarity and confidence in your process, and that clarity and confidence is from both sides. When a decision is made that is the right decision, everyone feels good about it. Everyone feels protected. That might look like not qualifying someone if there's a budget misalignment. It might look like not inviting someone in if there's a lack of urgency and you don't feel like they're in a position to do the work. Not letting someone in might mean just acknowledging that the values or the expectations are a mismatch on one side or another. When these things show up, this is not an objection to overcome. This is not a challenge that we need to get over. When there is a true budget misalignment, lack of urgency, or a mismatch in values or expectations, that is a signal to pause. That is a signal to reflect. That is a signal to dig deeper. And yeah, it might be a signal to walk away because a no to the wrong fit is a yes, creating space for the right one. A yes to a wrong fit creates more friction and closes a space for someone who is truly meant to fill it. So this is where you take a step back. This is where in training, I tell people who are new to the sales industry, take a step back, slow down to speed up. Think about what's happening. If you feel in your heart that you have reached the level of persuasion or convincing and it doesn't feel good, this is a signal to slow down. Because persuasion does not mean success in business. Take a step back. Look at your pipeline. Look at your lead flow. Where are you allowing people who are misaligned to come through? Where do you feel? Where is that space where you start to feel like you're convincing someone instead of evaluating their appropriateness? If in your evaluation you identify something that is misaligned and you switch into convincing mode or persuasion, what is your motivation? If it's numbers, if it's KPIs, if it's meeting quota, take a step back. Because numbers, KPIs, and meeting quota are important, but they cannot be the driver. Because if you are allowing misaligned people in, then you're creating a much larger problem that will eventually come back and crush, and not in a good way, your KPIs, your quotas, your things. If you get people who are unhappy, you get people who start to not paid on their contracts. You get people who spread the word that you're out of alignment. You get people who wreck your reputation. Do you think your KPI today for allowing them in is going to outweigh that? No. It's more important that you look at your standards for evaluation and you create that protection on all sides and you create a user experience that is done with respect, that at the end of the day feels good. Trust your standards more than your urgency or need to close. Trust the process. And at the end of the day, you're going to end up with a successful business, with successful fulfillment, with happy customers and clients. And even those that are misaligned, that maybe don't join your program, feel good about that decision, good enough to refer people who are right, good enough to spread the word that, you know what, they're in integrity, good enough to say, I really had a wonderful experience. They identified I wasn't right, and I'm so grateful for that. Maybe they identified what will make me be right eventually, so it gives me something to work on. Doesn't that feel better? They're protected. You're protected. Selling is not about convincing everyone. Selling is not about checking the boxes. Selling is not about how many deals we can close. Selling is about finding alignment, the right people, the right timing, aligned expectations. And that is what's going to make these people who are new to the industry quick to rise to be leaders in the industry, quick to rise to be mentors, the people look up to, the people that are saying, wow, I want what they're having. I want those results. I want those kind of referrals. I want that kind of testimonial. I want people to talk about me like that. Because when you lead this way, when you lead seeing disqualification as a gift, when you lead seeing qualification as a personal standard, then the most impactful move you can make is to maintain those standards. And sometimes the most impact you can make on someone's life is to walk away from the deal and walk into an aligned relationship built on trust, regardless of what that means for, selling today. Because impact doesn't come from more deals. Impact comes from increasing the number of right deals. And that, my friends, that is what makes you a leader. That is what makes you number one in the industry. That is what makes people attracted to you. And the more people who are attracted to you, the more people who trust the impact that you're making, the more people who respect your voice, the more people who will join you. And then it just becomes easy. Maintain your standards. Slow down. Protect your soul protect your business, and let's go.
Thanks for listening to Chasing Impact, Not Sales. If this episode sparked something, share it, subscribe, and remember, real sales come from real service. Keep chasing impact.